everything Social Security retirement benefits. So if you're currently receiving just regular old Social Security retirement benefits, we're not going to get into the spouse benefits, auxiliary spouse benefits, independently entitled divorce spouse benefits. I did a video about 4 or 5 days ago on spouse benefits. I want to focus on retirement benefits on your own record. So if you're currently receiving, you're about to file for benefits, you're looking to file for 2026. This is the video for you. We're going to go in and exactly how to file, how your benefits are calculated, how to withdraw your claim. Speaking of, there is a video that some of my viewers sent to me that if you don't do this by November 1st, you're going to lose $2,400 a year and $200 a month. And so you have to do this, and it's very, very important. So it's not the fact. I'm going to get into the video. I guess there's a new entry into the Clickbait Hall of Fame. This one's from the Philippines using AI and doing a bunch of stupid videos, but I'll talk about those. And this is also a live Q&A. So on all things Social Security, there's exceptions. Nobody can tell you when to start your benefits until they ask you a bunch of questions about your health and how much you're making and all that. And we'll talk about all that today. Okay, let's go ahead and get into it. One of the things that we have an update for 2026 is the earnings limit. So everybody still pays. It hasn't changed for 2025 and 2026. You're still getting, you still have to pay FICA taxes, the 6.2% for Social Security, and then the 1.45% for Medicare. And then your employer pays the other half, unless you're self-employed, where you have to pay both. In terms of how much you have to pay up to, this year in 2025, it's $176,100. Anything over $176,100, then let me go ahead and take these things out here. Anything over that amount, then you no longer pay into Medicare. Okay, so under for next year, $184,500. Anything under that, you have to pay Social Security and Medicare on every dollar you make. Over that amount, you stop paying Social Security FICA. You still pay Medicare, actually, if you make over $250,000. If you're married, $200,000. If you're single, you actually pay another 0.9% into Medicare. But next year, the limit is raised to $184,500. Quarters of coverage increased a little bit. That's how much you can get your, how much it takes to get your quarter of coverage, which is, your 40 quarters that you need, your 10 years. Okay, the most important thing, let's get to the most important things here. So the earnings limits, this year it's $23,400. Next year it's going to be $24,480. And here is where we see a lot of mistakes and people lose money this time of the year. This is usually the busiest time of the year for Social Security, and it's even worse now because there's so few Social Security employees. It's been like Social Security help has been diminishing for years, but once Elon Musk and the current administration and Doge went in there, they just cleared house, and yeah, so it's very, very difficult to get help. So in terms of the annual earnings limit, here's where a lot of people make mistakes. So if you're saying, okay, I want to go ahead and file for benefits now, but because I already made over $23,400, I can't file now. And we've had people in our live Q&A said, yeah, I went to Social Security and I tried to file and they said I made too much and therefore I couldn't, and I have to start January. 100% incorrect. They were probably talking to someone at the front windows who is not a Title II CS, Title II of the Social Security Act, a claims specialist. What you can do, this is called the monthly earnings test. This is where you see these numbers under here, the 1950 and for next year, 2040. So if you want to go ahead and collect benefits starting this year, even if you made $1 billion, I always exaggerate for effect, it doesn't matter. As long as you stop making that $1 billion a month, last month or this month. So let's say October, this is the last day in October, and you're going to stop working, or you're going to stay under the $1,950. The first month you stay under the $1,950, you can start those benefits. Okay? For next year, it's $2,040. So there's a video out there that gave some incorrect information. Luckily, she took that video down, so she did the right thing. But if you say, I want to go ahead and start my benefits in November or December, and I'm going to be under $1,950, next year, you can't do the monthly thing again. You can only do it once. Next year, you have to stay under the $24,480. What happens if you go over that? Social Security holds back $1 for every $2 you go over. And people are always ask, okay, how does that exactly work? How it works is they suspend your benefits. So if, let's say you make $10,000 over, so $1 for every $2, that means they're going to hold back $5,000 worth of benefits. Let's say your benefit amount is $2,000. So they're going to hold back the first 3 months of your benefits. And you said, Ed, that doesn't make sense. It doesn't add up. That's $6,000, $246. Social Security cannot hold back partial checks. So they'll hold back January, February, that's $4,000, and they'll hold back March as well, $2,000 more, because $5,000. They need that extra $1,000 back, and they don't do partial checks. So they'll hold back the entire check. Okay. Will you ever get that money back? Kind of yes and no. You'll never get that $6,000 necessarily, but what happens is once you hit your full retirement age, if you retire early, let's say you retire 30 months early, and your benefit amount is reduced by 30 months. Every month you start your benefits early, it's reduced by a month. So you start your benefits 30 months early, but after 10 months, your benefits are suspended. So you only receive 10 months out of that 30. Once you hit your full retirement age, they will readjust that amount. And they'll say, hey, we're going to send you a check. Look, the check is reduced for 30 months, but you only took 10 months. So we'll recalculate it, rewrite the check, and here's the check, and it's only reduced for the 10 months. And that's 100% automatic once you hit your full retirement age. Okay. And here is the, let me go ahead and show you, because this feeds into our next thing that people have questions about. So there is a channel out of the Philippines, and I guess this guy was doing Social Security type stuff, you know, talking about Social Security program in the Philippines for a while. And then I guess some people in the United States, the YouTube algorithm or whatever the case may be, showed it to some people in America, and people in America started watching it and clicking on it. And the guy says, oh my gosh, this is pretty awesome. We can get some views in America on Social Security, even though we don't know anything about Social Security. Here's what we'll do. We'll get an AI generated person, this lady right here, AI generated, and we'll just give out a bunch of BS information with a bunch of shocking titles about November 1st being your benefits are going to be cut off, and you're going to get some stimulus check or the COLA. These are the typical topics of clickbaitish. Is they talk about the COLA, and you should talk about the COLA when the COLA actually comes out. So I'm waiting. COLA just came out, 2.8%, pretty embarrassing. I'm waiting for the first video that comes out that starts making videos about the 2027 COLA projections. Oh, what's going to be the COLA for 2027? And people are going to watch it. And so that's why people keep making videos out. I'm waiting. So if you see the first COLA, if you see the first social media video about the 2027 COLA, send it to me and we'll have a good laugh. And another thing that the clickbaiters do is stimulus checks. They every single day they come out with another video on, okay, what's the update on the stimulus check? What's the update on the stimulus check? When is the stimulus check going to come? When are we going to get it? How much is it going to be? And all the rest of it. Regular viewers to my channel know the video, that know the slide I'm going to show. Until you see this, ignore any type of stimulus type chatter talks. Until you see the president in front of the podium, you know, patting themselves on the back about, I am such an awesome person. We are going to give you $1,000 or $2,000 or $3,000 or whatever the case may be. Until you see that, or because, you know, they can say stuff and it doesn't necessarily make a difference until you see it actually in your bank account. Yeah, the stimulus ain't happened. So that's kind of some of the information out there that a lot of people are putting out there. And so the November. So what was the thing about November? The November thing, they said, okay, you have to contact Social Security by November 1st. If you don't, you're going to lose $2,400. And basically what they're saying, it's all BS, is they say, okay, if you filed for benefits over the last year, here's the important part. You can withdraw your application. So they made a video that says, okay, if you filed last November, you have until November 1st, actually the end of this October 31st, you have a year that you can change your mind and stop your benefits, withdraw your application. So you can do this. So if anybody filed for Social Security retirement spouse benefits within the last year, you can withdraw that application. So you send an SSA 561, you tell Social Security, it says, yeah, I made a mistake. I shouldn't have filed this early. I'm going to go ahead and withdraw my application. And then you pay the entire thing back. You have to pay it back because when you withdraw your application, it's like it never happened. So you withdraw your application, you pay it back, and it's like it never happened. And that's where the BS $2,400 comes in. As they say, you withdraw your application and then you wait till you're full retirement age or wait till you're 70 years old, then you'll get this $2,400 increase. So yeah, so I foresee this channel out of the Philippines doing a video like this every single month, that if you don't contact Social Security by December 1st, January 1st, February 1st, March 1st, then you're going to lose $2,400. And the problem with videos like that, so please don't watch them, don't share them. The problem with videos like that is people will contact Social Security and they'll ask them about that and says, I heard I had to contact you or I'm going to lose $2,400. And the problem there is Social Security just doesn't have the staff to answer those stupid phone calls of, you know, they're not stupid phone calls. You're actually looking for benefits that you're eligible for, you're entitled to, what you paid into. But based on clickbait information, yeah, from outside this country. So Social Security staff is already at a very, very low. They're trying as best as they can to help people file for retirement benefits, survivor benefits, disability. And then when they have to answer the phone all day and say, no, that video, that is all BS. I think it got like 167,000 views. That's their number one. I think that particular channel, that's their number one video that they've done. So I think they're going to double down on that and do a whole bunch more videos. So that's the status there. So you can, in fact, yes, you can withdraw your application within 12 months. And you can suspend your benefits. You just contact Social Security and say, hey, you know, I'm under my full retirement age. I know if I go over the monthly or the yearly limit, my benefits will be withheld $1 for every $2 that go over. But I found a job and I'm going to go ahead and take that job. So go ahead and suspend my benefits. And they can definitely suspend your benefits. Once you hit your full retirement age, then it changes. So this year it's $62,160. Next year, $65,160. So if you hit your full retirement age next year in 2026, let's say in October of next year, from January until September, you're limited to the amount of money you can make. That is $65,160. Starting in October, you can make $1 billion a month. Social Security doesn't affect your Social Security negatively at all. So if you go over 65,000, it changes to a $1 for every $3 you go over. So, okay. And then once you hit your full retirement age again, there's no earnings limit whatsoever. All right. And then on the other disability, I'm going to do another video on Social Security 2026 updates for disabilities and SSI and all the rest of it. So if you have, if you're interested in that, make sure you subscribe and like and all that stuff. Okay. So that's the annual earnings limit. Again, every month you retire early, your benefits are reduced. up to 62 years old. The 62 is the earliest you can get. And you also have to be 62 the entire month. So a lot of people make that mistake. I think someone put in the question before we started here today that they filed for benefits and then they were denied, and probably filed online and they were denied. And the response was they had to file 3 or 4 months before they wanted to start their benefits. So you can only file about 3 or 4 months before you want to start your benefits. Social Security doesn't, they can't sit on the claim. They can, but I wouldn't recommend it because, if someone takes that application and all of a sudden they get fired by Doge or relieved of their position, I guess, then your case is going to be out there missing in action. All right, so you can go ahead and file online. Whatever the case may be, schedule an appointment about 3 or 4 months before you want to start those benefits. If you're going to start next year, the most important thing that you need to do is make sure your earnings record is correct. That is how they determine your monthly benefit amount, by how much you actually paid into Social Security. And how they do that, they base it on your high 35 years of earnings. So go into ssa.gov, set up a My Social Security account. It's always good to set up a Social Security account. Christian Gagan says, simplify, hoorah. Always good to set up a Social Security account. Why? Because it makes it 10 times, 100 times more difficult for someone else to go in there and pretend to be you and set up a Social Security account and start messing with your stuff. So go ahead and set up a Social Security account. Check your earnings record. You're looking predominantly for gaps. So if you see any gaps in there, like for instance, in 1985, you worked for the same place in 1984 or 1986, but in 1985 it shows 0. So those earnings are probably in a suspense file, and somebody along the way mistyped the Social Security number or something. So that's pretty easy to fix. You just go to contact Social Security and say, yeah, I looked at 1985 and I worked for the same place before the 85 and after 85, and they'll look at the employer identification number for the previous years, and they'll look at the suspense file, and they'll go ahead and bring those earnings down and stick it in your record, and everything is good. So just check your earnings record and make sure. And if you can't get online or something like that, you can request remember in the old days when you used to be mailed once a year your Social Security statement that says, okay, here's how much you paid last year, here's how much your benefit amount is at your full retirement age, and all the rest of it. Okay. All right. What else? DRCs, delayed retirement credits. So delayed retirement credits are extra money you get if you delay your retirement after your full retirement age. So if your full retirement age is 67 years old, and let's say your benefit amount is $1,000, if you wait until 70 years old, the month you turn 70, then you'll get an extra 8% every year, 3 years. That's a 24% increase. So your full benefit amount is at your full retirement age is $1,000. If you start collecting those benefits at 70, you will get $1,240 for the rest of your life. So those are delayed retirement credits. And here's one that most people don't know, except for regular subscribers to our channel here, is voluntary delayed retirement credits. So if you're approaching your full retirement age, and you want to go ahead and you're already receiving Social Security retirement benefits, you can actually delay those benefits, voluntarily suspend those benefits, and get those delayed retirement credits. Not many people do that, and pretty much nobody knows about it. And when you actually go into Social Security, and if you're one of the very few that want to take advantage of that little insider trick, if you go into the Social Security Administration and tell them you're going to do that, you want to do that, they'll look at you like you're crazy. But then you just push a little bit, and they will go back to the back and ask a Title II technical expert, if there is still one in your local office, if they haven't been vacated by Doge and Elon Musk. But they'll say, oh yeah, voluntary delayed retirement credits. Yeah. Okay. So somebody in the office will hopefully know about what that is, but not many people use it because they just don't know what it is. All right. What about Medicare? So if you file for benefits at 62, 63, 64, sorry, no Medicare. I think once you start your Social Security retirement benefits, I think, yeah, Medicare should start. Anyway, same thing with disability. If you're on Social Security disability, SSDI, and you're 45 years old, after being on disability benefits for 2 years, then you get Medicare automatically, which is crazy. If you're on disability, you kind of need medical coverage. But anyway, that's the way the system is. If you're receiving Social Security benefits, any type of benefits, retirement benefits, survivor benefits, spouse benefits, whatever the case may be, and you turn 65, then what happens is they sign you up for Medicare automatically. They'll send you your Medicare Part A and Part B card in the mail automatically. If you have health insurance from current work, yours or your spouse's, and that employer has 20 or more employees, then you do not have to get Part B. Or if you're not collecting benefits, you don't have to do anything. So people used to contact Social Security all the time at 65 and then say, I don't want anything. And say, okay, didn't really have to contact us because you're not currently receiving benefits. And they just said, hey, I'm 65, I'm going to be turning 65 and I still don't want anything. I'm going to wait until I'm 67, 70, 75 when I stop working. And you don't have to contact Social Security. If you're not already receiving benefits. If you're receiving benefits, then you'll receive that Medicare card in the mail automatically about 3 months before you hit 65. And if you don't want Part B, then you have to keep Part A. But if you don't want Part B, save yourself the $185 or whatever it's going to be for 2026. Then you have to contact Social Security and deny, or when you get the packet in the mail, Medicare will tell you exactly how the procedure is for that particular time on how to decline Part B. And then once you stop working, a year, 5 years, 10 years after that, let's say you're 75 years old and you finally stop working or your spouse stops working and you stop receiving health insurance from that work, then you just go ahead and sign up for Part B and pay the $185. And then on my website, mygovexpert.com, I've got the, so these are the different enrollment periods. Enrollment on Medicare's, on all of it is crazy complicated. If you're 65, you have 3 months before you turn 65, the month you turn 65, and 3 months after. That's when you turn 65. And then if you don't get it when you're supposed to, then the only time you can sign up for it is during the general enrollment period, January through March. And then you'll get a penalty. If you don't sign up for Medicare Part B when you're supposed to, you're going to get a 10% penalty for every 12 months you didn't have it. And there's a penalty for Part D, prescription drug plans. And people say, why? I'm saving the government money by not having it. That's not really how insurance works. Auto insurance, you're not going to have an accident, but you have to pay for it. You're paying for people that do have accidents. You're paying for people that do have to go to the hospital. So, and then once you lose your position, lose your job, your spouse, when you're 75 years old, then you're in a special enrollment period. And then you go ahead and there's a couple of forms that you need. I've got it on my website, or you can go to ssa.gov or medicare.gov and get them. It's the L564 or the 40B. The L564, if you're 75 years old, you take that to your employer and your employer says, yes, this person did have health insurance from work since they turned 65 years old. So for the last 10 years, they had health insurance from work, and there's no penalty whatsoever. You pay what everybody else does. So, and then there's all the other crazy enrollment periods. We are in another enrollment period. So the Medicare Part B enrollment periods, you got the initial one, you've got the general, you've got the special enrollment periods, and then you've got enrollment periods for Medicare supplement plans. The plan ends in the G. Actually, you can do that 365 days of the year. If you're healthy, you can switch around. Part D is different. Medicare Advantage plans are different as well. We are in the midst of the annual enrollment period right now. So if you need help, you can reach out to our partners there at Chapter and they can help you out. Find the best plan for you. Do the 7 Ps. Have your current plan because you want to make sure you get the best plan for 2026. Have your current plan so you can compare it. your providers, if you need to see the particular providers, your prescriptions, have that available. If you have a particular pharmacy you like to go to, have that information available. Your priorities, you need extra, dental, vision, or whatever, and then focus on prices. You want to make sure you don't spend, too much money, more than you need to for 2026. And then throughout the year, you need to stay persistent. Medicare Advantage plans, they're challenging. Prior authorizations, limited networks, changing networks of doctors and hospitals. And so you just have to keep up on it. That's why my son and I partner with Chapter, and they help you 365 days of the year, making sure whatever Medicare Advantage plan you choose, they take care of you. Medicare supplements, you don't have to worry about that. If Medicare covers it, then you're covered. So, all right. I know there's 400 different permutations that people ask. When should you file? Again, 3 or 4 months. How should you file? You can file online. You can call and schedule an appointment, call the 800 number, call your local Social Security office, schedule a phone appointment, or schedule an in-office appointment. They're difficult. An important point is what's called protective filing. If you want to go ahead and start your benefits this month, and it's Halloween, October 31st, but you call today and you get in and you say, I just lost my job yesterday. My boss just fired me, so I guess I want to go ahead and start my benefits this month. And you call and they say, okay, because we're super short-staffed, we don't have an appointment until January. Okay. If you need that money coming in, I would push and get that appointment done as soon as possible. But if you can wait till January, once you get your appointment in January, you tell them, they should know that, hey, I called you in October. I called you by the end of the month. So therefore, I want October's check. And Social Security always pays a month in arrears. So the October check comes in November. November comes in December. December comes in January. But they will start your benefits in October because you are protected. That is protective filing for October. So, and then again, I think I mentioned the 62, you have to be 62 the entire month. So if you turn 62 on, let's say, February 8th, you can't start your benefits in February. You'll start your benefits in March because March is the first month you're 62 the entire month. This is only for the age 62. So you start your benefits in March, and again, you'll get your first check in April. A lot of people don't understand that, and they're without a check for a month or two. So, all right, let's get into some questions. And so if you've got any questions, make sure you jot them down there. At what age do they stop taking out Medicare premiums? Never. They always, as long as you're signed up for Part B, then they will take out the Medicare premiums continuously, forever. There are some people that they have another organization paying for their Part B premium. So if you or someone this is why our community here watches these videos, not only for their particular situation, they watch it for everybody else's. I've got a video question that this person wanted me to just do a video, do the entire channel for him. Well, I'll show you that one. People are funny. But if you or someone are having problems paying the $185, the Medicare Part B premium, there is what's called the Medicare Savings Program. And you have that person contact your state Medicaid office, whatever it's called in your state, Medi-Cal, Denali Care, Access, whatever. It's all Medicaid. And you have you or them apply for Medicaid. And if they're approved at the higher levels, then the state will pay for that $185. And you'll get other benefits as well. Usually a lot of cost savings. And then you're also eligible for a Medicare Advantage dual eligible plan. I usually recommend the supplements, but if you have Medicaid, you can't get one of those. And the dual eligible plans usually have a lot of other cost savings and benefits in there. So let's see here, what other kind of questions we got. Carolyn. My sister has been on SSI for about 50 years. She has no points for working per se. She started working on somewhat of a regular basis. She was cut off of SSI, and now she has no income at all. Okay, so SSI is Supplemental Security Income. That's the welfare-based program that Social Security administers. So your sister is not eligible for regular benefits. And so she was receiving SSI based on disability, right? And then she started working. So awesome. People can work. That's great. It's good for them. It's good for everybody. But once that situation changes and you can't, so you still would be technically eligible for SSI. It depends on how long she was suspended. If the suspension turned into a termination. So if you're on SSI and then you go back to work and they just stop your benefits for a few months or a year, 2 years or something like that, you're still technically eligible for SSI. You're just not getting a check. But at some point they said, okay, yeah, you're not coming. So they terminate it. And that means you just have to, refile. But if it's only been however long it's been, it doesn't matter. If she's no longer has that income coming in, contact Social Security and refile for SSI or tell them situation has changed, no longer doing that work, no longer able to do that work. And hopefully those benefits are just suspended and they can restart them. But she is 50 years old. Another thing is SSI, you can get SSI based on being disabled or SSI, what's called SSI aged, and that's being 65 or older. So if she's 65 or older, disability doesn't matter anymore. So she can get SSI based on being 65 or older, but it's still limited income, limited resources. So she doesn't have any substantial resources, $2,000 to $3,000, depending if she's married or not, and her income is limited, then definitely start the SSI. If she was married to anybody, she can get, remember, she can get retirement benefits, spouse benefits, disabled widows benefits, independently entitled to spouse benefits, whatever the case may be. Yeah, see if she's eligible for anything else out there. So, question, Dr. Ed, is there a code or law or a code number that we're supposed to recite to the clerk if we want them to do a delayed credits and stop the Social Security check? I think I put it down on my YouTube description. It's the voluntary delayed retirement credits. I've got the link, the PALMS policy link. It's in my YouTube description. So, but yeah, just tell them voluntary delayed retirement credits. And then the person at the front window or the 800 number, they won't know what that is. Because again, the people at the front window are just generalists. They're not titled to, I was a Title II CS, claim specialist, before I became a manager. So, and I probably had one of those every 10 years because people just don't know about it. Probably more people would use it, but they just don't know about it. Social Security does a terrible job announcing stuff and yeah, independently entitled divorce spouse benefits and disabled widow benefits and this one and yeah, Social Security, and they're doing a worse job going forward. So yeah, just push and say, hey, I'd like to speak to a Title II TE. And as soon as you say it like that, Title II TE, they'll know that you know what you're talking about, and they'll say, oh, okay. It sounds like this person knows what they're talking about. And just tell them to look in PALMS for VDRC. So easy. So if retiring at 70, when does one start getting Social Security set up? How many months before age 70? Same as always, 3 or 4 months before. Yeah, so 2 or 3 months. But the important thing now going forward is checking your earnings record and making sure that's all correct. Medicare Part D is very spread out to the correct amount for each person is going to need, which is the best way to go. If at this time you don't need prescription drugs, but later things change. Yeah, Part D is the prescription drug program, and it's crazy. A lot of the big health insurance companies are dropping out of the business, and they're not paying agents and brokers to help you out with that. And a lot of people are getting misinformation and signing up for the wrong plans, and they're not signing up at all because, they turn 65 and they sign up for a Medicare supplement plan, a Plan N or a Plan G. And with that, you need a standalone Part D plan. But, you've got some agent somewhere out in the world and they sign you up for the Medicare supplement plan, and then they say, okay, we got to get you a Part D. And you say, no, I don't take drugs, I don't need it. And they say, okay, I don't care. The health insurance company isn't paying me a commission to help you find that, so fine. And then when you do need it 5, 10 years later, you're penalized for the rest of your life. So, Glory, thanks regarding 3 months before someone stated start the month one turned 70. Well, in terms of your MOE, your month of entitlement, yes, that's the latest you want to start. The month you start, the month you turn 70 years old, because you don't get the delayed retirement credits after you turn 70. That it stops increasing. But in terms of the actual filing, yeah, file 2 or 3 months before, and then when you file 2 or 3 months before, tell them you want to start your benefits the month you turn 70, if you want the full delayed retirement credits. So, Stephanie, can I go from an Advantage plan to a Medigap plan G or N during this time? Absolutely. Well, theoretically, it really depends on your particular situation. And so whether you're in a trial right, you just recently signed up for a Medicare Advantage plan within the last year. If you're healthy, depends what state you're in. So you can call Chapter and they can check out all that. So this is the time people do that. And there's going to be close to 1 million people who are getting their Medicare Advantage plans canceled, particularly if you have a PPO. A lot of those are being canceled. And when you get that cancellation notice on the bottom, it says that because we're canceling your plan, you have a guaranteed issue right to get either a plan G or the old plan F. And there's no medical underwriting. No, they can't discriminate against you. But if you don't have one of those, then you might have to go through health underwriting, depending on your particular state. Some states you don't have to. So, but yeah, now's the time to do it, because the reason now is the time to do it is I said, but Ed, you said you can sign up for a Medicare supplement plan any time of the year. You can switch a Medicare supplement plan. So if you currently have a Medicare supplement plan and a G or an N or F or whatever the case may be, and you want to switch it to another to save yourself some money, you can do that any time of the year if you're healthy or you live in a particular state. But if you have a Medicare Advantage plan, those plans are good until December 31st. So in order to get a Medicare supplement plan, you have to get out of your Medicare Advantage plan. And that doesn't happen until December 31st, unless you move or something like that. So you'll sign up for a Medicare supplement plan, a G or an N or whatever, and that'll take effect January 1st. And your Medicare Advantage plan, because you're not re-enrolling in it, re-upping it, then it cancels out December 31st. See what I said? The whole thing is, yeah, it's all too crazy. That's why we do this live Q&A, and this is why we partnered with Chapter to help you with the plans. We can help you. I can help you with Social Security, retirement, disability, survivor benefits, spouse benefits, Medicare Part A, Part B, but all of the thousands of plans, me and my son just can't do it. So that's why we partner up with Chapter. And full disclosure, if you call them with that number there and they help you out and they're able to find you a better plan that you currently have, then they support this channel. So it's a beautiful thing. Charlene, am on Medicaid and will be 65 in 2 months. Received a letter yesterday that I will receive SlimB. Am in Arizona. Does that come with Part D? What do I need to get at what cost? Yes. So good. So SlimB, that's one of the higher levels of Medicaid. Well, since you're in Arizona, it's called Access because, come on, Arizona. Anyway, they got to call it something very, very strange. So there's the higher levels is QMB and SlimB is the SLMB and then QI and stuff. So yeah, so if you are eligible for Medicare, it sounds like you are, your Medicare, are you currently receiving Social Security benefits, retirement benefits, or any type of Social Security benefits? If you are, then as like I said, your Medicare card will come in the mail automatically. And you'll be signed up for Part A, Part B. And then what will happen is computer systems have to talk to each other. So they will start charging you for Part B. And then the state of Arizona will have to pay for that. And so you've got 3 systems, computer systems talking to each other. You've got the Arizona one, you've got Social Security, and they got Medicare. So those 3 computer systems have to talk to each other, and they never talk to each other as quickly as they're supposed to. So you might have to pay the $185 for a month or 2 but once the computer systems talk to each other, they'll reimburse that amount. But you can always just reach out. There was, in the last administration, they passed a law to make that all easier, to make it easier to do what you're doing. But the one big beautiful bill delayed that for 10 years because I have no idea why, because they don't want to make it easy for people. So, oh, Carolyn, no, she's 72 years old. She's only been working when she was around 66. Oh, okay. So yeah, if she's 72 years old, then she is eligible for SSI aged, again, low income, low resources. So she was only working, she stopped years ago. So yeah, I would definitely, yeah, reach out. The immigrants have drained the system. That is 100% correct. Well, immigrants, okay, people that are in this country legally, yeah, some people with green card holders, if they pay into Social Security, then yeah, they get retirement benefits. They pay into the Social Security, they get disability benefits, get survivor benefits, spouse benefits. But I think you're probably talking about undocumented immigrants, which do not get benefits in any way, shape, or form. But this is part of the group that wants to use that as an excuse, one person that they think shouldn't get whatever. So they focus on that one person and hurt the other 99 people. And we here in this community are part of group one. We're like, all right, we want to help these 99 people. Yeah, there's someone in there who's going to take advantage. We'll focus on that fraud, waste, and abuse. You know, we'll have enough employees to make sure we catch that person, but we're not going to throw the baby out with the bathwater. But yeah, there's some people that just don't like other people, and so they decide to just throw the whole thing out. So, and hurt a lot of innocent people. It's unfortunate. Lydia, I receive Social Security and work part-time. I'm 73. I'm still paying into Social Security. Does my earnings count toward an increase in benefits? Good question. Thank you. That kind of adds more to our retirement discussion today. 100%, maybe. If it's one of your high 35 years of earnings, 100%. So what happens if you're 73, 83, 93, and you're continuing to work and continuing to pay into Social Security, and that year that you paid is one of your high 35 years, 100% automatic, that will increase your monthly Social Security check. Absolutely. Automatic, 100% automatic. If it's not one of your high 35 years, then no. So it really depends how much it is. So pay and do it for your whole life. When you need it, you get nothing. They took the money and spent it on other things for their own personal greed, funding ridiculous projects, the bullet train. Yeah, again, yeah, not sure who. Social Security Trust Fund is there. Yeah, you need to stop listening to politicians that are trying to trick you. So, hi, everybody. I am trying to help a friend. You are awesome. That's what we do here. She is not old enough to collect Social Security. She just lost her job. She is a home health nurse. She got hurt at work. Can Chapter help her find medical insurance? Chapter, as of right now, only does Medicare plans, so Medicare supplements, Medicare Advantage. So if she is eligible for Medicare, if let's say, you know, she is 65 and older and she refused, you know, Medicare, she didn't sign up for Medicare because she had a job. Perfect, good, very smart. But now she lost her job. So if she's 65 and older, she can go ahead and sign up for Medicare. She'll have to do those 2 forms to, you know, to avoid the penalties. And then she has to find something to cover the gaps. That's why people get a Medicare supplement plan or a Medicare Advantage plan, because there are so many gaps in original Medicare. I wish there wouldn't be, but this is the reality. And if there wasn't, then, you know, we wouldn't need Medicare supplements or Medicare Advantage plans. That's the way if I was a dictator for a day, that's the way I would do it, you know. But anyway, this is a situation we're dealing with. Is if all you have is original Medicare Part A and Part B, then for instance, if you go to the hospital and get a surgery for $100,000, you have to pay 20%. And you're like, no, Ed, hospital, you only have to pay a deductible for $1,676. Well, that's for the hospital, the night in the hospital and all that kind of stuff, the hospital charges. That's Part A. Part B covers the actual surgery, the actual doctor. So $100,000 surgery, you pay 20%. So that's why people either get a Medicare supplement plan or a Medicare Advantage plan. And I always recommend starting with the Medicare supplement plan, seeing if that's for you. And if it's not, then check out a Medicare supplement plan, or excuse me, Medicare Advantage plan. My Part D is $5 a month, and my husband is $1 a month. Med still costs some, but if you don't use med, it's still low cost. Absolutely. Yep. Perfect. Yeah, a lot of those super cheap Part D plans, wondering about what's going to happen with those in the future. I know a lot of them are kind of going away, but yeah, if you were able to find that in your particular area, then absolutely. Good deal. Good deal. All right, let's see. Marcia, my husband is 62 and it's getting harder to do his work. He's a laborer. He's been at the same job for 35 years. His back is about done. He's trying to stick it out until he reaches 67. Shall he wait? Okay, here's another option. Is RibDib. Sound like a frog, but it's RibDib. What it is RIB is retirement insurance benefits, RIB. DIB, disability insurance benefits. So if he's under his full retirement age, but he wanted to wait till his full retirement age to get the full amount, what he can do is go ahead and file for disability benefits. And unfortunately, that takes forever nowadays. It's always took way, way too long, but it's even worse now. So you might get an answer within 6 to 9 months. And some people can't wait 6 or 9 months for a check. So what they do is they do the RibDib. They go ahead and file for retirement benefits and start getting that retirement check coming in. It's going to be reduced because you're starting it early. But then once, if your disability claim is approved, then your disability benefit is not reduced. It's your full benefit amount. So if they determine he became disabled before he started his retirement benefits, then he'll get his full benefit amount. So that's an option. So I would definitely check that out. But in terms of, yeah, I mean, health is the most important thing. So if, my father was a manual laborer and stuff. So yeah, I mean, getting tough, and it gets tougher every day, and then an accident or something happens. And so those are options. And then if he files for benefits, then you could file, if you're at least 62 years old, you could file for benefits on your record. And if his benefit amount is over twice your full benefit amount, you can get benefits on that. So I'm not sure whether that's going to, supplement or, take place of his current income, but that's an option. Yeah, for another 5 years, or go the disability route. So let's see. My family had to immigrate from Ireland. Glad there was a way for them to come and for everyone to help them out. Yeah, that's kind of what we do here. There's a lot of videos going around about food stamps and stuff, about all of there's 400,000 Afghanis receiving food stamps and stuff like that, and all this, it's a dog whistle, anti-immigration, everything. But yeah, 90% plus of people receiving food stamps are American citizens, and the other ones are legal. So those Afghanis, and don't talk bad about those Afghanis, because old Marine Corps sergeant here, the situation with a lot of those Afghan refugees, those were people that helped the military, the U.S. military, when we started the war in Afghanistan. They helped. They were translators. They helped the U.S. forces there against the Taliban. And the wife lost the husband, the translator, and we allowed the wife and the children to come to the United States. And obviously they don't speak English and stuff, so we help them out. So they gave their life and they gave their safety. They can't return back to their country because they helped us. So yeah, so they did above and beyond for us, and we can at least, send them $100 a month for food stamps. And those kids, all you have to do is, the immigrant children, usually knock it out of the park once they get older. So on the first generation, might have to help them a bit. Second, third generation, yeah. So I might be here in the future, and I've got the new internet, some new AI or some new thing we've all got on our phones that was built by the son or the daughter of some refugee we helped out when they were young. So yeah. All right, my PPO was dropped, was receiving extra help. Can you get a supplement plan with extra help? Yes. Okay, so your PPO was canceled. You're one of the about 1 million people that got their PPO canceled. So you have a guaranteed issue right to get either a G or the old F. So you can get a Medicare supplement plan. Absolutely. If you've got that letter, that guaranteed issue right letter. But because you're receiving extra help with your prescription drugs, the low income subsidy that you can get if you're low income, the issue is Medicare supplement plans, there's a monthly cost for them. So you can absolutely get a Medicare supplement plan, but depending on your state and everything, it might cost $80 a month, $100 a month, $125, $130, $140 a month. And it just might not be in your budget. So can you get it? You have a guaranteed issue right if your PPO was canceled? Yes. Can you get it? Can you afford it? Yeah, that's the issue. So, but I would definitely check it out. See what's in your particular area. And so call chapter there and say, how much is it? And figure it out. Because if you're sick, then sometimes the Medicare supplement plan actually works out to be cheaper in some respects. Because with Medicare Advantage plan, it's 0 premium per month, but you've got all those monthly, you've got the back end charges, this much for an x-ray, this much for a night in the hospital, this much for an MRI and all the rest of this stuff. So they get you on the back end. And the prior authorizations. So if you have something that your health insurance company has always harassed you about, and is the reason you got a PPO is because you wouldn't have any networks. If you go ahead and get a Medicare Advantage HMO, you're going to have networks again and prior authorizations. But if you're able to swing a Medicare supplement, you don't have prior authorizations. You don't have networks. Well, as I say, if you have a Medicare supplement plan, your network is America. So any doctor, hospital, clinic that takes Medicare takes your Medicare supplement. Okay, some people are going to write really quickly and said, no, I went to this doctor and they wouldn't take it. If the doctor is accepting new patients, yes, the doctor will take the Medicare and your Medicare supplement plan, 100%. But yes, the doctor has to be accepting new patients no matter what kind of insurance you have. So yeah. Let's see. Okay. The Social Security recalculate everybody's payment every year after they start collecting? Yes. Well, yes, they recalculate based on the COLA, and they also recalculate it based on again from your earnings from the previous year. So, so if last year was your high earning year, they will look at it. They look at your other 35 years, and if it's one of your high ones, they throw out the low one, stick in the new one, and they recalculate your benefits every year. So, yeah, Reptold is, yeah, we might have to, is kind of trolling here. But someone disagreed with what I said, and perfect. I love people disagreeing, and if they're right, then that means I've learned something. And so, but to give a better response, do me a favor on, as I'm going to be showing some video questions here. So what's the person's name? Reptoloid, who is disagreeing with something I said. Do me a favor and go into my website, mygovexpert.com, and then go on the bottom here where it says question or comment, and you can record a 2-minute video on your phone or anything. It's super, super easy. Record a 2-minute video, and then, yeah, go for it. Tell me, yeah, don't worry, you won't, Marine Corps sergeants that, yeah, psychologically abuse me and stuff. I think that's their job. Their MOS is to be jerks. So you won't offend me. Just say, yeah, Ed, you're incorrect about this, that, and the other. And I guarantee if you don't say any inappropriate words, I'll show it tomorrow during our live. Absolutely. So, okay, let's see here. Let me go ahead. But in the meantime, yeah, I think we're going to have to, we'll put you on timeout here for a while. All right, let's see. Okay, I'll give you the little kids. They're cute, but at a certain age, okay, I'm worried about what they're doing to my house. Okay, of Halloween. Yeah, that's kids out there causing trouble. It sounds like her 55-year-old friend hurt at work should apply for disability. Yeah, if you're hurt at work, you're unable to work, Social Security disability is Social Security defines disability as the inability to work because of your disability. So it's all about work. So that's the first thing they do is they determine, can you work? If you can't work based on your disability, and your disability will last 12 months or longer or end in death. So people that, says, I just got a prognosis, it was a terrible prognosis, and yeah, I'm not going to last 12 months, then that's count as disability as well. So 12 months. And that's why you see a lot of the stats, particularly lawyers, like throwing around statistics about Social Security, about all the people that are denied, which some people are denied incorrectly. I agree. But there are people, I've taken a bunch of these applications, people that come into Social Security and they want to file for disability because they broke their arm or they're pregnant. Yes, I've taken a lot of disability claims from people that are pregnant. And I say, okay, is your disability going to last 12 months or longer? No, I'll be able to work once I give birth. And so I say, well, that's going to be denied. They say, I don't care. I want to file. And because I'm a doctor, but I'm not that kind of doctor, I say, well, it's not our job. We have to take the application. And then because the person said it's not going to last 12 months or longer, we immediately deny it. But sometimes people, they have to go through that procedure. They're, through their work, their disability company at work or something like that makes them file for disability, and sometimes for stupid reasons. And so Social Security has to adjudicate that claim. And then that goes into statistics about how many people are, denied for disability, and lawyers use that. And so, yeah, it's crazy. Let's see, Danny, Dr. Chapter hooked me up with a great Medicare Advantage plan. Thanks, Jason. Awesome. Perfect. Awesome. Yeah, some people are having a hard time getting in a chapter. They're still in their first 2 weeks of the annual enrollment period craziness. Probably if you call them to a Saturday and Sunday, they're open till 9 o'clock East Coast time. It might be easier, but they're worth the wait because, again, they're going to be in your corner every day of 2026, and I am too, to fight those Medicare Advantage plan if they don't do the right thing. So if you can't get in, you have until December 7th to review your Medicare plan, and your new plan won't start until January 1st. So, but if you still have difficulty getting a hold with them, email me at ed@mygovexpert.com and I will check into it. So, Michael, employers are so insulated by state laws from workers' comp claims, it's ridiculous. Yeah. I have a friend from high school who just became an Ireland citizen to get away from the, okay. Yeah, that is a very popular thing, moving, not necessarily to Ireland, but moving overseas. So that's why on my mygovexpert.com website, I have information on, because a lot of people are immigrating, expats overseas, and whether they always ask, can I get Social Security benefits? Are my benefits going to stop? What about a bank account and all that? So one of the pages on my website is about living on Social Security overseas. And then remember our brand new website that y'all helped build, that y'all are going to continue, is to get as many people in there. The more people we get registered for this website, it's 100% free to register, the more people that we're able to help on a 24/7 basis. So please, particularly once the big, beautiful bill, all of those policies start trickling down, the extra recertification, the reviews, the redeterminations, the work requirements and stuff like that, we're going to need people throughout the country to have a venue, a hub, a place that they can go there and help each other navigate their bureaucracy. And this is what we've built this website for those who are trying to navigate the Social Security bureaucracy, Medicare, Medicaid, food, housing, and all the rest of it. But we need people. So if you could refer to everybody, gets 100% free. We don't send you a bunch of emails. We might send you email, maybe once every couple of months or something. So let's see. There's a Medicare guy is hanging out at CVS trying to help people sign up. I said, Dr. Ed hooked me up. Okay, perfect. And it's interesting. Hopefully they didn't say hi to you or anything. They're not supposed to. It's crazy. So if they did it, that's good. Medicare regulations are really, really tight in terms of sales, which is great. Too many people were taking advantage of people. And they have signs when you see them, it says, ask me about Medicare, because they can't really talk to you until you ask them about Medicare. They can't talk to you about Medicare until you ask them about Medicare. But unfortunately, there's a lot of bad actors that call you, 20, 30, 40 times a day, and they're not supposed to be doing that. Chapter, the guy that started Chapter, he's gone in front of Congress and tried to get these bad players out of there. But it's a tough one. So let's see here. CS, can you explain why the golden ticket doesn't help if your Part A and Part B started in 2019? Chapter probably said I don't qualify. Golden ticket. Not sure where you talk about golden ticket. Grocery cards. Yeah, CS. Tell me what you mean about golden ticket. Golden Ballroom? Are you going to get golden tickets to the Golden Ballroom in Washington, D.C., the East Wing? I don't think we're going to get tickets, but anyway, we can all, I don't think we're. All right, let's watch some video questions here. Let's see what we got.
Clint from Tulsa, Oklahoma. I'd like to know if I'm drawing $2,100 a month on my Social Security and my wife's only drawing $700. Can we have any better benefits that if she's only drawing not even half of my Social Security? Thank you.
All right, yeah. If he's receiving 2,100 and she's receiving 7, then it definitely sounds like it could be a yes or it could be no. Just based off the face of this. If he started receiving his benefits at 70 years old, and that's why his benefit is 2,100, then maybe not. Because the spouse benefits are based on his benefit at full retirement age, not the extra that he gets based on waiting till 70 or 69 or 68. She will get that if something happens. Surviving spouses get those delayed retirement credits, but not living spouses. So, but even then, the calculations, something doesn't sound right. I would call from Tulsa, Oklahoma, call the Tulsa, or call the 800 number and have her there and ask, double check what the PIA is, because you don't look at the check amount. They're not looking at the 2,100 versus the 700. They're looking at what your benefit amount and what her benefit amount was going to be at full retirement age. That's called the PIA, the primary insurance amount. So run to the phone immediately and call the 800 number, sit there on the phone, unfortunately, ignore the AI or try to beat your way through the AI they've got going on there, and say, what is my PIA and what is my wife's PIA? And based on that, is she eligible to file for benefits on my record? If she is, they will set her up with an appointment at your local office. So definitely do that as soon as possible. Do that not only as soon as possible, but do that today. Because remember I said about protective filing, this is the end of the month. So I would do this today, because if you do it tomorrow, she just might be eligible for benefits starting November. But if she calls today, she might be able to get October. So depending on her age and everything. So
I have a disabled daughter who is 44 years old as of this coming November 4th. And her father recently is deceased. He died last April of 25. Is she entitled? She has schizophrenia and bipolar, and she's interdicted. is she entitled to any of her father's Social Security benefits?
Okay. In order to be entitled to benefits off of a parent's record, the child has to be what's called a DAC, a disabled adult child. So Social Security has to determine that she became disabled before the age of 22. So she sounds like she's already on disability. So if her disability was determined to start before the age of 22, then she could be receiving benefits from her father's record. And that's called the DAC, Disabled Adult Child Benefits. And she will get 75% of his PIA, his full benefit amount. So again, call. Call and schedule that appointment and get those benefits, get the process started.
Wait a minute. Oh, okay. Hello, Dr. Ed. I'm sorry. This is my first time recording a message. I want to know, I heard you mention that Humana was going out of business. That's only going to be in certain states. I'm calling you, recording from Plano, Texas, 75074. And I was just curious, you know, I heard you say Humana's going out of business, and I would really like to know if that's just for different states, not sure.
Okay, yeah, I want to make sure nobody cuts this up later and says, "Oh yeah, Ed says Humana's going out of business," and they start, suing me or something. No, no. Number one, I actually mentioned the company's name, and I try to avoid using company's name. But anyway, but no, that company is not going out of business that I know of. Anyway, it's not going out of business. But there are companies that are leaving particular markets. So maybe that's probably what you heard. So there's some companies that say, hey, in this particular, like I know there was a company in Missouri that it's a nationwide company everybody knows. They left the entire state of Missouri. They said, yeah, we're not just making enough money in this state, so forget y'all. And those PPO plans, maybe that's what he's talking about. There are companies that are dropping those PPO plans because PPO plans, the Medicare Advantage companies, don't make as much money with those than they do with the HMO plans. So that's why they're dropping those PPO plans to make their bottom line better, so they can make even more billions of dollars. So, all right, just to make that fresh.
But, some of the agents lie to you. I actually have an agent that plugged into my phone to get my information because she had asked me did I want her to do my Medicare, and I had said yes, but I didn't give her permission to get close to my door and hook up her computer to my phone for sharing. So I'm going to be asking you and your son for help, Charter or somebody. My name is.
Okay. All right. So he gives out some private information, so I'll cut that off. Number one, I wasn't going to answer this question because this guy's from Plano, Texas, and we used to play Plano, Texas in high school football in Texas. And if y'all don't know about Texas football, then yeah, anyway. And they used to beat us all the time, so I was going to ignore. No, anyway. But yeah, okay. Number one, a Medicare insurance agent coming to your door, they can't do that unless you told that you give them permission to come visit you, and you tell them, oh yeah, call me, come to my house tomorrow, whatever. If you tell them that, then they'll come. But you probably hear barrel insurance companies, final expense companies, they come and knock on people's door all the time, and I hate that. So that's why one of the reasons my son and I partnered up with these guys who don't do that. But those companies can actually knock on your door and cold call you. But Medicare, if you get a knock on your door and someone wants to sell you Medicare, get their card and turn them in. They can't do that unless you invite them. And that they hooked up his phone to their computer. That's even way. Yeah, that's crazy. That is completely unsatisfactory. So call Chapter, and they'll help you out. Again, they're kind of crazy busy right now, but some people are able to get in immediately, and some, unfortunately, depends on the time of the day. It takes a little bit of time, but you've got until December 7th. Don't wait. Don't wait till the last time though. But yeah, that's kind of unsatisfactory on a couple of points of hooking up your phone, coming to your door if you didn't invite them. But yeah, reach out to chapter there, and they will definitely help you out. All right, let's see what else we have here.
So I have a question. It has to do with the divorced spouse benefits. So my question is, do I have to have a certified copy of my divorce when I go to Social Security Administration? What I have personally is a copy of from the courthouse, a copy of my divorce. Would that be considered a document that Social Security would use? And then,
Okay, let me answer that one. The copy has to have, it has to have the original stamp or the raised seal. So it has to be a certified copy from the issuing agency. So if it's, Clark County or whatever, it has the Clark County seal or stamp or something like that. So it has to have that. Notary, you can't use a notarized copy. Well, I showed a notary the original copy and they notarized. No, that you can't. A notarized doesn't matter. You have to have the original. But remember, a lot of people lose money. Remember when I talked about protective filing? So there's a lot of people that said, well, I'll go ahead and file for disability benefits or spouse benefits or divorce spouse benefits or something like that. Once I get whatever documents I think I might need, medical records, divorce decree, or marriage certificate. No. Call Social Security, schedule your appointment, because your appointment's not going to be for a month or 2 months or 3 months anyway, and then start getting what you think you might need. But maybe you might not even need that. So don't, cancel your appointment. You schedule an appointment for January 2nd, and you go ahead and order your marriage certificate and divorce decree, and January 2nd comes and you don't have it yet. Don't cancel. Keep the appointment, because they might say, oh yeah, no, you don't need it, because your ex-husband, your ex-spouse, they filed, and when they filed, they showed us all the paperwork we needed. So you're good. You don't need anything. So keep that appointment. All right, let's see what they're.
I'd like to know how I would obtain a marriage certificate. I was married in Maryland. I need guidance on how to go about getting that.
Yeah, you just go on to the state of Maryland or the particular county or city wherever you got married and contact them, and they will be able to send you one. If you have a very, very difficult time, then when you have your appointment with Social Security and say, hey, I'm not computer savvy and I tried and whatever the case may be, and I just wasn't able to get, they better help you out. They have the record of a database of all the places in the country you can get it. And in some situations, if you're filing for SSI, the welfare-based program, they will kind of get it for you. They'll reach out to the Social Security office in that particular city who have an arrangement with their local, divorce decree, whatever agency, to get those copies for you. So.
Hi, Ed. This is Gigi from Illinois. I received Social Security for retirement. It's been 8 months. Would like to delay until 70 now. Is that possible?
Yep, that's what I was thinking of when I was talking about the delayed retirement credit. So yeah, if you're receiving Social Security benefits, there's a few ways you can stop it. One is to tell them that, hey, I earn too much, and therefore, I'm past, the annual earnings limit, so they're going to hold back $1 for every $2 you go over. If you filed within the last 12 months, you can withdraw that application. You have to pay all that money back. Or the third option is those voluntary delayed retirement credits, where you can just go ahead and get those delayed retirement credits, suspend your benefits, and restart it at 68, 69, or 70. Yep, absolutely.
Hi, Dr. Ed. This is Lisa from Florida. I'm 63 years old as of yesterday, and I am on Medicare disability. And I also have qualified for Medicaid. Now that my husband has gotten a much better job than he's had in the past, I won't be qualified for Medicaid anymore. So now I have to look into the plans and the best thing for me to do to cover my medications. I have quite expensive IV therapy every 2 months for severe psoriatic arthritis as well as RA. So I have to make sure that that's going to be covered with whatever I choose. I've never had to do this in the past because being on Medicare disability with Medicaid, they always chose for me. So I'm a little lost. There is a surgery possible happening in the next year or two on my knee. I've already had one replaced, and I've already had a complete reconstruction of my ankle with 3 fusions.
Okay. Yeah. So, and this is going to happen a lot. People are going to lose Medicaid, even if they're eligible for Medicaid, because they're putting up so many bureaucratic hurdles that people that are actually eligible are going to be kicked off, unfortunately. And that's one of the reasons we put together 24help.org to make sure that doesn't happen to as many people as we possibly can. So we need to be prepared and get as many people in the community as we possibly can. Okay. All right. So, but in her particular case, she understood that she's losing Medicaid because of increased income. So, yeah. So you have disability based on, or you have Medicare based on disability. So in most states, you probably are not going to be able to get a Medicare supplement plan, because issuing a Medicare supplement plan is regulated by the state, and some states say, no, you don't have to give it to people under 65. So you might not be able to get a Medicare supplement plan. So the only thing you'll be able to get is a Medicare Advantage plan. And so call chapter and make sure you have your 7 Ps there. You don't have a current plan. Well, you have you currently have a Medicare Advantage dual eligible plan, but because you're losing Medicaid, you're losing your dual eligibility. Dual mean Medicare and Medicaid. So yeah, that doesn't help. You can't keep that one, so they don't need to compare that one with what else is available out there. But your providers, whatever doctors you like to see, your prescriptions. And one of the things, I'm not, you said IV and stuff. A lot of people don't recognize that, Part D covers medications, prescriptions. But Part B does as well if that is given to you like a shot or something like that in a doctor's office, in a clinic or something like that. If that happens, that actually is covered by Part B, B as in boy, not D. So Part D, prescription drugs, is, you typically go to the pharmacy and get a pill box, whatever. But if you get it in a doctor's office like that, that's usually covered under Part B as a boy of Medicare. So, and then your priorities is, you want to make sure that's covered, whichever company. So yeah, reach out to chapter and tell them in no uncertain terms, I got to have this and I got to have that and I got to have this other thing. So dental, vision, I don't, if I can get some extra stuff on, above and beyond, but this is the most important thing. And then persistence. Chapter is going to be in your side for the rest of the year. So if they give you a hard time doing this, that, or the other, then you call them up and they will try to rectify it from the Medicare Advantage plan. So, all right, we got 2 more questions here.
Question is if my wife would be eligible to draw additional money based on my Social Security income. I retired at full retirement age. She retired, I think it was 62, whatever the earliest age she could retire is, so she could take care of her mother. Anyhow, would that have a bearing on whether she would be eligible or not? That's my main question. She did call the Social Security office, and they just flat told her she was not eligible, as she only had 30%. If you could please let me know something, I'd appreciate it.
Okay, so possibly 30%. Yeah, maybe 30 credits. So, so you need 40 quarters of coverage to qualify for Social Security retirement benefits or Social Security disability insurance. For SSDI, you could be, if you're younger, you didn't have to get all 40 credits. But for regular retirement benefits, yeah. So 30%, maybe they mean 30 quarters of coverage. She only has 30 quarters. But that doesn't matter. If she's eligible for benefits on your record, she can get benefits on your record, even if she's not entitled to benefits on her own. But you have to be receiving benefits. So if you start your benefits and she's 62 years old, then she can get benefits on your record, even if she's not eligible for benefits on her own. All right, this is the last one, an interesting one.
Hi, yes. I just wish in your videos, which is great information, but I wish you would come right out and say at the get-go, though, whether you're a widowed spouse, which that's what I am, and if you get married before 60, I don't have nothing to say to you then. You lost all your benefits. And then the same thing with my wife, where she had.
Okay, I say that. Anytime I'm talking about surviving spouse benefits, if you're receiving surviving spouse benefits and you get remarried before the age of 60, that's it. You're done. If you get remarried after 60, you can keep your benefits. That's the regulation. I've said that many times.
40 years of taking care of the house and the kids and the pets, and while her ex-husband made all the money. Now, you don't say that if you get remarried, you can't get his Social Security. It's a straight out simple thing to say.
Not really. Because the problem is, if you get remarried, you're still eligible if you get divorced subsequently. So I know you want me to answer your specific questions only, and you want me to ignore everybody else in other situations. But anyway, so if you get remarried and you're eligible for surviving spouse benefits or divorce spouse benefits or something like that, you get remarried, you lose that benefits while you're married. Again, unless survivor benefits, you remarry after 60. But the problem is there's a lot of people out there that think like you do that perhaps that's it. No, that's not it. Situation changed. There's 20,000 pages of Social Security policy, and that's why I do a channel every day, is because there's 20,000 pages of Social Security policies, and there's exceptions to exceptions to exceptions. And this one is, there's a lot of people, like we just had that one lady that we helped out, got an extra $1,000 a month. She thought like that. She thought, I got remarried. I was married to someone. They passed away, but it was many, many decades ago. I got remarried. That one ended, and then she didn't get benefits. She lost $1,000 every single month for however many years. But we told her, no, yes, while you were married to that second person, you're not eligible. Again, unless over 60. But since then, she got divorced. So she was able to leapfrog after her first husband and go get benefits on her first ex-spouse. So I wish it was a cut and dry, but it's not.
Don't listen to the rest of this conversation because you're remarried, so you can't go after it. You don't really come out and say that. I just wish you would, and it's awful. Then you turn around at the government says, well, you did 40 years, and now we're going to punish you for another 10 more years because you got remarried. So you'll have to collect off of your new husband's half of his Social Security. It just sounds like such an awful plan that it didn't help the spouses at all, either way. All right. I'm hoping that you can come back and.
Okay. Yeah, that's the law. So that if you're remarried to a new person, then you're not eligible for benefits on that record unless over 60 and receiving surviving spouse benefits. All right. So we've ran out of time. We went way, way over today. I apologize. I'll be back again tomorrow. I think we'll probably talk about food stamps because there is a judge that said food stamps have to be paid. There's going to be a lot of people hungry, and we'll see what's going on. But those people that are perhaps going to be losing food stamps, we are going to kind of reach out to them and tell them, hey, there's other programs out there. So we'll kind of do an overview on all the other programs. So if you know anybody out there that's hurting, struggling, make sure you tell them to watch tomorrow's video, and we'll go over a bunch of the other programs and see if there's anything else that we can help them with. All right, y'all take care. Have a beautiful night, and please, 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 please take care of each other. Bye-bye.